Well, hello and welcome here to the Saint Anselm Coaches Show. Nick Anastos with you live from Davison Hall here on campus on the hilltop. Lot to talk about today. We'll hear from head football coach Pat Murphy in just a few minutes. We're going to go all over the map on the show over the next hour. However, Tim Rattigan, Matt Santello, and Joe Fitzsimmons from the golf team will stop by. We'll talk a little golf, and then in the second half hour, we'll switch over to field hockey. Head coach Carolyn King and Eliza Jalbert, one of the players, will join us. We'll also, of course, recap the week that was and preview the week ahead in St. Anselm Athletics. But as we always do, we begin things with football, where the Hawks fell in a tough one on Friday night against New Haven. Final score 70-26. The offense, though, had their moments, looked pretty good. 4 touchdown passes from sophomore quarterback Andrew Murphy, the highlight there. 3 of those to wide receiver Justin Bernard. As usual, we've got Twitter up and running. You can tweet questions to Coach within the next 15 or 20 minutes at STA Hawks. And if you're lucky, we'll read them live here on the air. You're listening to ESPN New Hampshire and online at espnnewhampshire.com. We do this every Tuesday from 5:30 to 6:30, but recorded live here at Davison Hall from noon to 1. Without any further ado, let's talk some football with head coach Pat Murphy. Following the latest St. A's home game, they will do it again this Friday, of course, as they continue to look for their first win against Southern Connecticut State. Coach, another tough game on Friday. Your overall thoughts to begin the conversation?
Didn't play well enough to beat a very good New Haven team, and we got to play much better to really have a chance against Southern Connecticut. We didn't play very physical either side of the ball, and we got to bounce back and move on to the next one.
Health always a concern this time of year. You mentioned the safeties were a little bit banged up when we spoke off the air, the D-line a little bit, the O-line. Is a week enough time to get some of those guys healthy, or not really?
It's, but that's football.
Yeah.
And, part of being a young team is, you don't have enough depth ready to go like a lot of older teams, like a New Haven, like a Southern Connecticut, that have had established programs and successful programs year in and year out. We're building towards that. So right now our safeties have been out since Bowie, and the communication's a definite issue on the back end, problem-wise. And, we've got to continue to develop the younger guys, the freshmen, to help with that depth issue.
Some of those guys were kind of thrown into the fire there in the second half. I noticed, especially along the D-line, you were using multiple bodies, trying to keep guys fresh and guys healthy up front. Anybody stand out on the defensive side, some of the reserves that did see some playing time against New Haven?
Well, I think Josh Garrett's doing an excellent job, freshman, linebacker from Fort Lauderdale area. He's really starting to progress. Zach Hayes, another young linebacker, doing a great job. And guy Elijah Thomas, who's bounced around a couple different positions, doing some good things, and I think can help us, in the future.
Talking with Pat Murphy, head football coach here on the Saint Anselm Coaches Show. Against New Haven, you had to face one of the more athletic running quarterbacks in the conference in Ronnie Nelson, 171 yards on 13 carries. Mike DeCaro, one of the better tailbacks in the conference, ran for over 200 yards. What kind of additional challenges going into the game for the defense present itself when you have to face those kind of athletes on the other side?
Sure. Ask Nick Saban. Talk to him about stopping Johnny Manziel and those types of guys that can throw it and run it. Create a multitude of problems that really there is no answer for. You get depth and you take away the passing game, and if, they see a little crack in the front, they're gone. Both he and the quarterback for Bowie are exceptional athletes. I don't see another quarterback in our league that's going to present the similar problems where they can both throw and run equally well. And it's the type of guy that really keeps defensive coaches up at night.
I mean, how do you even begin to prepare for that, though? Are there some things you can do defensively during practice?
Yeah, like everything, you have a plan. You try to, hey, we're going to force them to stay in the pocket. But the thing that makes them so special is, you have 5 offensive linemen blocking 4 defensive linemen, and they're trying to stay in their rush lanes to try to contain that pocket. And all it takes is one guy slightly out of position, and it's a big athlete, a defensive lineman versus a speed athlete. That speed athlete's going to win every time in space. So
let's talk about some of the positives in the loss to New Haven. I thought the offense probably played their best game so far through the 3. Do you agree?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's the first time we were very consistent throughout. We're still nowhere near where we need to be. We were right around 400 yards total offense, and we were able to put together multiple drives. I think we had like 24 first downs or something like that on the day. So we were moving the ball at a pretty good clip. Andrew Murphy, other than 2 plays, was extremely efficient, and the guys made plays. And it's something that we expected right from the start, and we're just starting to really get into the swing of things. And that was a very good, very athletic, very well-coached defense that we played against in the University of New Haven.
Yeah, you put up 26 points in the loss against New Haven. Talking with Pat Murphy, head football coach here on the Saint Anselm Coaches Show on ESPN New Hampshire and ESPNNewHampshire.com. Coach, you had challenged that wide receiver group to play a little bit more physical after the first 2 games to shore up some of those drop balls that they had. It seemed like the results were there. Justin Bernard, 14 catches, 134 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Let's start there. He was a workhorse on Friday night.
I mean, he was back to being himself. Instead of I think that entire core group of receivers were really pressing too much. At the first 2 games, and then they just let it happen this game, and they played to their ability.
I mean, you've had some over the years. It's your 6th year as the head coach of the program. You've had some guys who have kind of stood out conference-wide at the wide receiver position,
sure,
including, of course, Justin Bernard. He had 15 touchdowns last year as a sophomore. Where does he rank amongst those so-called greats that have come through the program?
As far as that position gets, him and Mark Wilson.
And that's it.
And that's it. I mean, those 2, and we've had some exceptional players. Craig Dennis, who graduated a year ago. Marcel Bowie graduated several years ago. But really, when it comes down to it, it's those 2, Mark and Justin, are really difference makers. They're playmakers. They can create. You talk to basketball coaches. They want players who can create on their own. And those are the guys that are really special. It's the same thing, with that particular position and a running back, and to a certain extent, guys like Nelson at quarterback, guys that can create where there isn't anything. And, Justin can do that.
Is that part of his size or his?
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Justin, Mark was an exceptional athlete as far as speed goes. His top-end speed, is world class. I mean, it really was. That's why he wound up in the NFL.
Right.
Justin is a big physical receiver with good speed, excellent athleticism, but some of the better hands that I've been around, both as a player and coach. He's a very physical receiver in that. I'm not talking about just the blocking aspect. I'm talking about him going to get the ball. He's got very strong hands, and
it seems like you could line him up and use him anywhere over the middle. Some of those tougher routes.
He like Mark, very similar. We use them in different ways to take advantage of what they do. But as we did with Mark Wilson, we do with Justin. We'll move him around and try to get the matchup that benefits us.
Right. St. A's football is the discussion here on the St. Anselm Coaches Show on ESPN New Hampshire and ESPNNewHampshire.com. Speaking with head football coach Patrick Murphy. Coach, another tough loss on Friday. It's got to be tough for the coaching staff to keep guys motivated, keep guys wanting to come back when things start out tough.
I mean, that's football. I mean, that's the great thing about this team that we have now.
And you had said that before.
We had a great practice Sunday night. We had a great practice last night. And that's the great thing about our guys right now is that they are just working the process. They're having fun. They're paying attention to detail.
And they don't get discouraged.
The wins will come. I mean, like anybody, no one likes losing. Right. These guys don't like losing. We're not going to accept that, as the ultimate outcome. But we're not letting one win or one loss define us as a program. Hey, that play's over. That game's over. We're going on to the next one. And that's kind of been the mindset of the guys. It's the mindset of the program is don't worry about what happened last. Good, bad, or indifferent. Go to the next thing.
And you have to have that mentality, that mindset for sure. That being said, You mentioned it Sunday night, yesterday. 2 pretty good back-to-back practices. You feeling good going into this week against Southern Connecticut State?
Yeah, I mean, we're banged up a little bit, but like I said, that's football. It's improvise, adapt, overcome. No one's going to feel sorry for us, so it's line up with the guys we got and get after it. And the guys are excited about it. The coaches are excited about it, and we're not pulling teeth. We're not having to motivate anybody.
Right.
The program is becoming a program full of self-starters that are looking for the next challenge and getting ready to get out there.
We talked a little bit about this senior group and how they've kind of taken the bull by the horns in terms of motivating everyone else, getting everyone on the same page. Keith Charles, he's one of those leaders.
Oh, yeah.
We've said that before. He kind of speaks softly, but when he does speak, everyone listens. His play on the field, I've been impressed with this year.
Been exceptional.
He's taken it, I think, to the next level in his senior year.
He has. I mean, 3 games that he's had so far, he could easily be the offensive player of the conference each week. Each of those weeks, he's been exceptional as far as all-purpose offense, total offense. I think he's been over 200 yards total offense each game. Been over 150, I think, all-purpose each game, and is really starting to kick it into another gear that we haven't seen yet. And he's always had the potential to do, and he's taking full advantage of this season.
It seems like, and I've always liked the way you've used him in that offense. It's seemingly a pass-first offense, spread it out, but just enough, I think, to keep the defense honest is how you use him, and it's worked pretty well. Friday night for the running back, 12 carries, 83 yards, nearly 7 a clip. So that seems like you're maximizing his abilities on the field.
Yeah, he also had, I think, another 4 or 5 catches for another 40, 50 yards, and at the end of the day, I'm looking at touches. I want him in that 15 to 25 range each week, depending on what the defense is giving us, and we've been able to get him in that mix, right around that number each week.
Another guy I want to talk about is his backup, the youngster Joe Heyman. 6 carries Friday night, 31 yards, a 5.2 average, ripped off an 18-yarder that was pretty to watch down the sideline. You were, I think, high on him in camp. How has he panned out for the first 3 weeks?
Joe's scary because he still doesn't know exactly what he's doing, but he's electric with the ball. He's a threat to score at any time, and we can, like Keith, we can hand him the ball, pitch him the ball, or throw him the ball.
Right.
So we can get it to him in multiple ways, at multiple positions, and he's going to be a great player here for the next 4 years.
Football on the docket here on the Saint Anselm Coaches Show. Tune in every Tuesday from 5:30 to 6:30 on ESPN New Hampshire and ESPNNewHampshire.com. We'll talk golf in a few minutes, field hockey in the bottom half hour, and we'll get to some tweets on Twitter as well in just a few moments. They're coming in, Coach, hot and heavy. If you want to have anything read on air for Coach Murphy, go ahead and hit us up at STA Hawks. And we'll get to those in just a moment. But one more thing, I guess, about Southern Connecticut, Coach, before we get to the Twitter action. Anything in particular game plan-wise that might be new, a new wrinkle this week based around Southern Connecticut?
Yeah, they're a big, fast team, very similar to New Haven from our offensive perspective. It was a great game to set us up for Southern. A lot of similarities. Offensively, they're dramatically different than New Haven was. Their quarterback is not a run type guy. He is a pure pocket guy. They are much more a pro style based team. They want to run the ball, throw play action, and bootlegs off of those runs. So it's a dramatically different offense than the one we just saw.
And that's got to be tough for a coaching staff to have to prepare a team for Style A versus Style B in only a week.
That's part of the job. That's not an issue. And believe me, I'd much rather prepare for this style of offense that we're playing against Southern than the one we saw against Bowie or New Haven.
A little easier to prepare.
Yeah, just from the quarterback perspective, it's a whole different element to the game plan with that in the mix.
I suppose preparing for anybody else besides New Haven would, in comparison, seem a little easier. That's a good club.
Oh, they're a very good club, and they've enjoyed a great amount of success. And part of that is that's the biggest part, is getting over that hump for us, and getting used to winning. And like I said, winning's a habit, and New Haven has it right now, and that's where we want to get to.
Yeah, New Haven has won 19 in a row in the Northeast 10 Conference. So Southern Connecticut, the next opponent, Friday night, 7 o'clock. Tickets still available here. It's a home game under the lights. If you can't make it, you can watch the broadcast live at StAnselmHawks.tv. All right, here we go. The tweets coming in hot and heavy, Coach. Are you ready for a fun segment here?
Sure.
All right, here, the first one from Air Jorgensen. I believe that is Joel Jorgensen. His question, why the infatuation with being a parrot head? Is that a Jimmy Buffett reference?
Jimmy Buffett's a great singer, great concert.
Is that your favorite?
Oh yeah, I love Jimmy Buffett.
Now, why the infatuation is the question.
Have you ever been?
No, but my aunt is a big fan.
Then you wouldn't ask your aunt; she'll understand.
All right, this one from Mike Jones 6. If Jimmy Hyde recovered from his wiffle ball face injury, would you have won in the playoffs last year? Not sure what that is.
I'm not sure either.
Here's one from Nicole Foley. If you had to save one player from a fiery pit, who would you save and why?
One player from a fiery pit? My daughter.
Good enough. One more. Let's see. I think another one here. We got to get to the Scan Man, Mike Scannell. He's just firing them off. Who currently has the best facial hair on the team, and can you describe it?
I have no idea.
One more from Scan Man, then I'll let you go, Coach. If you could eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be, and how many times a day would you eat it? That's a good one.
One meal. I have no. Well, lobster. My middle one and I like lobster. So there you go.
Can't go wrong with lobster, especially that butter sauce.
That's it.
Coach Pat Murphy joining us. Good luck on Friday. We'll talk again next week.
Thanks, Nick. Appreciate it.
That's head coach Pat Murphy, the St. A's football team, gunning for their first week at home, their first win at home Friday night. Tickets are available. They're cheap. They're right at the door. Plenty of room still left. Should be a good atmosphere. It always is under the lights on Friday night. Going to talk a little golf here with no delay as we welcome in not one, not two, but three gentlemen from the golf team.
See ya.
We have Tim Rattigan, Matt Santello, and Joe Fitzsimmons. Guys, welcome to the show.
Good to see you.
You may have to share that last mic here, but we'll make do. Tell me a little bit about Saint Anselm Golf. I guess we'll start here.
We have 11 guys in the squad. How many tournaments do we have this fall? Is that mic working?
7 tournaments on the schedule. We started at Bowdoin 2 weeks ago. Last weekend we were at Southern New Hampshire. And this weekend we're getting ready for NE10s. This is our biggest tournament of the year. This is when we really go all in. We work hard in practice all week. And we're looking to have a great week and end our St. Anselm career with a big victory in our conference championship.
Let me ask you this. September, or playing golf in September, is that a little bit different from, let's say, July or August because of the weather?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Balls don't fly as far because it's cold out. And
So how do you adjust your game?
You always have to club up a little bit more than in July or August. July or August, you can hit it probably 10 yards further. And you always are wearing more clothes. So small changes, but it's definitely different.
Yeah, like the colder weather, it's a lot easier. It's a lot harder to adjust to the either coldness early in the morning to where the summer is. It's pretty hot out where you're sweating. You have like sweaty hands onto the clubs. You have to adjust to different climates all year round.
Which do you like better?
I personally like the fall better. It's cooler weather. You can still wear shorts and a regular golf shirt, pants sometimes, but I like the fall golf season a lot better.
Talking St. Anselm Golf with Tim Rattigan, Matt Santello, and Joe Fitzsimmons. You guys just took part in the Dowling College shootout, I believe. That was down in Long Island, right, over the weekend. I heard the conditions were far from good. What was the story?
Yeah, the first day was pretty hot. Tough tournament. We didn't get to play a practice round, which was pretty crucial. But the second day was 35, 40-mile-an-hour winds. You were hitting 4 clubs more than you would on a regular shot going into the green. So it was really difficult to adjust and shoot a good score.
Tim, you're from, I believe, Reading, Mass, right?
Yep.
My mother's from Reading.
Oh, yeah?
Went to Reading High, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, I did too.
Tell me a little bit about some of the extracurricular stuff you're into. I believe you're on the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, which is a nationwide organization. What does that entail? No?
No, I'm not.
Got the wrong note here. What are some of the things you do, though, away from the golf course?
Away from golf, hobby of mine since I was really young is just investing and learning about finance. I'm on the finance club, and yeah, it's just been a hobby of mine since I was really young.
What is the finance club?
Finance club,
What's
we basically just meet with alumni, and they'll like talk to us about basically our careers and give us advice on what they think we should be doing.
Now, all three of you, I'm sure, played multiple sports in high school. What was it about golf that really, I guess, caught your attention?
I'd have to say golf found me more than I found golf.
Really?
I grew up playing a lot of hockey and baseball, and when I got into high school, golf gave me an opportunity to play at a high level as a sophomore, as opposed to hockey or as fighting for position just to get a few shifts a game. So once I saw the opportunity presented to me, I really went at it 100% and committed to it, not only during the summer, fall, and spring, but also in the winter with training and really assessing what I needed to do to get to the college level. So I'd have to say that it found me.
Seems to me golf and hockey are probably polar opposites in terms of sports, right?
Yeah, a lot of competitors in college say that my golf swing looks a lot like a slap shot. So I guess I don't know if that says my swing isn't the prettiest, or maybe it has something to do with the roots in hockey, but I get that a lot.
I think there are a lot of guys that played hockey in high school that are on the team, actually. I think we had like 5 or 6.
Really?
But yeah, I played hockey and lacrosse, and golf just became my favorite sport, probably because my brother, he was the captain of the golf team here, graduated in 2009.
Yeah, actually, one of our freshmen, Joseph Zarnata, is the recruit for the hockey team this year. So he's also a really good golfer as well as a hockey player. So you can see the comparison between the two.
All right, guys, couple events this week. You will be at the St. A/Franklin Pierce Challenge. That is 1 o'clock on Thursday at Candia Woods. And then, as you mentioned, the big tournament both Sunday and Monday, golf at Northeast 10 Championships in Brentwood Golf Club in Keene. Anything different this week in preparing for the big event, obviously, beginning Sunday?
I would say it's a lot different than last weekend because we're familiar with the course. Brentwood, we played 2 years ago in the Franklin Pierce tournament, and we did pretty well. Joe shot 75, I shot 74. I think the team came in second. And
you like the course?
Yeah, in the field in that tournament was the same as the field this weekend. It was all NE10 teams, and so we have good memories at the course. So hopefully this weekend that will come through.
Yeah, also we saw all our last year playing the team, so winning New England's 2 out of 3 and coming into our last NE10 tournament, we kind of want to finish it off with a bang and really get the first NE10 conference championship for us 3 at least out of our 4-year career here.
Who's the best golfer on the team?
Matty Santello.
No, definitely. I think we're all really all on the same level golfers. We all compete the same. We shoot the same scores in practice. Tournament-wise, we're all competitive. So I wouldn't say there's a best golfer, but we all have our days in tournaments.
I hear you. I have utmost respect for golfers because I'm still trying to break 100. Guys, best of luck this week at the tournament. Thanks for joining us here on the Saint Anselm Coaches Show. That is 3 of the seniors: Tim Rattigan, Matt Santello, and Joe Fitzsimmons. Again, they'll be in action on Thursday at the St. Anselm Franklin Pierce Challenge, 1 o'clock at Candia Woods Golf Links in Candia. And then, of course, the big tournament, so to speak, Sunday and Monday at the Northeast 10 Championships in Brentwood, or at Brentwood Golf Club in Keene, New Hampshire. A good first half hour, maybe a better second half hour on the way. We're going to talk field hockey with head coach Carolyn King. We'll also hear from one of the players, Eliza Jalbert, talking about Corners for the Cure and their work with the Susan G. Komen Foundation. So some good stuff on the other side. And, of course, we'll preview all sports in the week to come. Coming up next here on the Saint Anselm Coaches Show, right here on ESPN New Hampshire and ESPNNewHampshire.com. Back here on the Saint Anselm Coaches Show, Nick Anastos here with you live from Davison Hall every Tuesday from noon to 1. Aired on ESPN New Hampshire and online at ESPNNewHampshire.com from 5:30 to 6:30 on Tuesdays. Special thanks to head football coach Pat Murphy joining us in the first half hour. The Hawks football team back in action against Southern Connecticut State. That game will be played Friday night under the lights on the Hilltop. Tickets are still available. We talked a little golf, the Northeast 10 Championship coming up next weekend. So those guys getting ready for that. Special thanks to Tim Rattigan, Matt Santello, and Joe Fitzsimmons. We'll hear from field hockey coach Carolyn King in just a moment. Eliza Jalbert, one of the seniors, will talk it up a little bit as well. And then we'll preview the week ahead for all sports. But a quick reminder, St. Anselm College features 20 NCAA Division II programs, most of which compete in the highly competitive Northeast 10 Conference. With over 100 home events this season, there are plenty of chances to catch the Hawks in action. If you can't make it to the game, log on to SaintAnselmHawks.com. Follow along with free live stats for every home contest, or better yet, be sure to check out SaintAnselmHawks.tv for live video broadcasts of every football, basketball, and hockey game, as well as other select events throughout the year. Joining me now is Carolyn King, the field hockey coach. Coach, welcome to the St. Anselm Coaches Show.
Thank you.
Your team right now, 2-3 out of the gate. You were telling me during the break, a very young team. How have they held up to the first 5 games of the season?
I think they've done pretty well. We only have 3 seniors, 3 juniors, 8 sophomores, and 8 freshmen, which can prove to be difficult sometimes. They're really learning on the job. We have a couple of freshmen starting, a lot of freshmen playing a lot of important minutes. So we had our rough spots in the beginning, a couple blowouts, but we were able to rebound from that, which I think is really important with a young team, keep their confidence and get a win, and then play a really good game against a great competitor in Adelphi and just not be able to finish it in overtime.
1-1 this week, a pair of home contests. Both were overtime games. Is it important for the young team to figure out how to win those tough, close games early in the season?
Absolutely. Last year we lost to Franklin Pierce in overtime on our turf. So I think for the returners, it was an all too familiar nightmare when they tied it up 2-2. But I think it was, a testament to how far we've come in a short time to pull it out, in the end. And the Adelphi game, we worked really hard. We played really well, and it just didn't go our way. But we get to play them again near the end of the season.
Speaking with field hockey head coach Carolyn King, the team is mostly comprised, I guess, of players from New England states. A lot of Massachusetts representatives here, a lot of Maine, certainly some New Hampshire schools in there as well, Goffstown, Pinkerton, etc. Is field hockey at the high school level in New England a growing sport? Is recruiting becoming a little bit easier, or is it still kind of a niche sport in a lot of ways?
I think New England field hockey is very popular. So especially New Hampshire has great field hockey. I worked and played in Maine, so I love the Maine field hockey, high school field hockey.
You still have some ties back there?
Yeah, and Massachusetts, I grew up in Massachusetts. They have wonderful field hockey there. So it's quite easy actually to recruit from New England here. A lot of the kids want to come to the college. The nursing program is a huge recruiting tool for us as well. So it's good to see quality field hockey just, right outside your door. So it's pretty easy.
You're telling me again before we came on live here that Division II field hockey is a little bit of a different deal. Only really 2 major conferences. So if you survive that conference portion of the schedule, you're in a pretty good shot maybe for a national championship.
Yeah, the numbers are low for field hockey. There's the NE10, and then there's the Pennsylvania Athletic Conference with a couple of independents, down in Virginia and Maryland area.
Now, why is that in your view?
I'm not sure. I think it's currently growing. Southern New Hampshire is adding a program next year. There's 3 new programs currently this year, one being Dowling, who we played. So it's continuing to grow, but the 2 leagues are highly competitive. 5 of the 11 teams in our conference have already been ranked in the top 10 this season. So
Wow.
While you do have a better chance of getting to that national championship game, getting out of your conference and into the playoffs alone is probably the biggest challenge.
Yeah, a little bit different of a deal, I guess. Easier said than done, so to speak. Speaking with Carolyn King, head field hockey coach here on the Saint Anselm Coaches Show. Eliza Jalbert will join us in just a few moments. Want to talk about one of your players in particular, the senior forward, Elizabeth Sears from Danvers, Math. She has 6 of the team's 8 goals so far, 1 assist as well. How good of a player is she?
Liz is a wonderful player. I think she really took her role this year as a scorer to heart. She knew coming into this year we lost one of our primary scorers, so Liz moved from right wing to center forward and knew that she was going to be relied upon heavily to score. Our other 4 forwards are all sophomores, so they played a little bit last year and they're really playing a lot more this year and trying to, help her out. But I think she's just got great stick work. She knows, where the goal is, and she just works really hard. So while we'd like to have more people score and spread it out so they can't just shut Liz down, she's done a really nice job of working through it and still being our primary target.
Still putting up some impressive numbers despite the defensive attention. You mentioned at the top of the interview that this is one of the younger teams that you've had at St. Anselm. Do you have to adjust your coaching style during some of the practices to, I guess, convey what you're trying to do to some of these younger players as they get their feet wet?
Yeah, you do. We have things that we put in place last year as far as presses on offense and defensive corners and all these set plays. And we have 8 new kids coming in who don't know these set plays and know our style of play. So you really have to slow it down, walk through some things, and you have to catch them up to speed in a very short time window. So I do have to adjust and, sort of get the basics down and then try to push them ahead quickly.
One thing that I found very impressive was your team's involvement with the Corners for the Cure, which directly benefits the Susan G. Komen Foundation. It's the 3rd year. Through the first 2 seasons, you've raised nearly $18,000. I want to talk a little bit more with one of your players about that, Eliza Jalbert. She'll join us in just a few moments. But, how big of an impact has that made on your team?
I think it's huge. The 2 seniors that graduated last year, Nicole Guimond and Megan Sullivan, started it the year before I came. So when I came into the program, they had already had it all set up. They didn't need me to do anything. They went out and got the sponsors. They got the T-shirts. And when I found out that they had raised more than $9,000 the year before, I was really impressed. So even though they graduated, our seniors have done it again this year, and our game is October 5th is the game that we're doing the Corners for the Cure. And I just think it's a testament to them just being really well-rounded players and understanding that field hockey is just a game and that they're here and their impact can go far beyond the field.
Absolutely. Carolyn King joining us, head field hockey coach. How have you liked it here at St. Ace so far?
I love it so far. This has
been here, a couple of years, right?
This is my 2nd year. Yep. This has been the goal. I went to a small liberal arts school in Maine. I was a creative writing major. My parents knew I was never going to make any money, even though my school costs more than I'll ever make in my salary. But ultimately, for 5 years, I worked for nothing and really just kept with field hockey and waited my turn, and I finally was able to get it here, and I love it.
Hard work pays off.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. Coming up this week, what are we looking forward to schedule-wise?
Tomorrow we play Assumption College at 7 p.m. out at Grapponi. They are a team we played twice last year, and we battled them. We split 1-1. They're a very good team, very young as well. But we're both going to be, looking for a playoff push this year. We both were on the outside looking in last year. So it's going to be a great game. And then Saturday we open up with our NE10 conference play at Southern Connecticut. again, another really great team with one of the best conference players. So looking to go 2-0 and, continue to get better.
Best of luck. We'll talk again down the road. That is
Thank you.
Carolyn King joining us here on the Saint Anselm Coaches Show, the head field hockey coach. Field hockey team 1-1 in a pair of home contests last week. They earned a 3-2 overtime win against Franklin Pierce on Tuesday, but fell 3-2 in overtime against Adelphi on Saturday. As we mentioned, Elizabeth Sears, the senior forward, continued to be an offensive force for the Hawks. She had a hand in 4 of their 5 goals, registered 7 points, 3 goals, and an assist. Sears potted a pair against Franklin Pierce Tuesday, including the overtime winner. She then assisted on freshman midfielder Kelsey LeBlanc's first collegiate goal in Saturday's contest with Adelphi. Joining us now, senior Eliza Jalbert. Welcome aboard.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Nice to talk. Tell me a little bit about your experience here as a player with the field hockey. Not just this year, but over your career. How have things been going?
They've been going great, thanks. They've been consistently improving, and we've been doing great from season to season.
This year, a little bit different. You're one of the few seniors on the team. Coach mentioned that there's a lot of new players, a lot of young faces. Do you have to almost become maybe an assistant coach because of the experience you have? Or what's your role, I guess, as one of the senior members of the team?
Well, I think definitely leading by example is one. And I think just working hard. I think that's how you lead, and people will respond to that.
And by and large, they have, right? For the most part?
Definitely, yeah.
Now, what about your background? You're from Rhode Island, right?
Yes.
Is field hockey a big deal down there?
It is. Pretty much every school in Rhode Island has field hockey. It's a popular sport. And it's a great one. I love it. My sisters played. It's been
Older sisters?
Yep,
That's kind of where you picked up the habit, so to speak.
definitely.
You play anything else in high school?
Yep, I played field hockey, lacrosse, basketball, and ice hockey.
Well, you play lacrosse here as well at St. Anselm.
Yes.
So how is that? You must be busy all the time.
It is. It's a balancing act, but it's great. It's a lot of fun. You're always busy.
Never a dull moment in the
Exactly.
life of a two-sport athlete. You went to Lincoln High School in Providence.
Yes.
That a good program?
It is. It's great. They've continually improved. It's a small all-girls school, but for the most part, it was great.
Got you ready to come here and play right away for sure. Speaking with Eliza Jalbert, one of the seniors on the field hockey team. You've got some pretty good accolades as well. A 2-time member of the Northeast 10 Commissioner's Honor Roll. So you are truly a student, not just a quote-unquote student athlete, right?
Yes. Our coach, too, has put a lot of emphasis on the student aspect. It's very important. Work hard, keep your grades up, along with performing.
And what are you looking to do?
I'm an economics major, but right now I'm kind of unsure.
Really?
Yeah.
Kind of a last-minute change of heart?
No, I love economics. I just don't know what I want to do moving forward.
Well, it's a good problem to have, I suppose, for sure. Tell me a little bit more, I suppose, about this year's team. You're young, but there are a couple of seniors who have been able to contribute. Looks like your fellow senior Elizabeth Sears has gotten off to a great start. What is her game like?
She's great. She works hard. She takes that ball and puts it in the back of the goal cage. She not only plays defense if we lose the ball, but she's a hard worker.
Good two-way player.
Definitely.
How would you describe your game?
Just relentless, hard worker, hopefully.
There you go. Is that really what it takes at this level? Because it's such a highly competitive conference that, if you don't, I guess, bring it, so to speak, every game, you have to do that to survive in the Northeast 10. Is that, I guess, a fair way to interpret it?
Definitely. Yes.
Anything you can do or you would like to do to get better by the end of the season?
Maybe give up a few less corners in defense and just continue to work hard.
Tell me a little bit about the Corners for the Cure. Coach mentioned it a few moments ago. It's the third year. It directly raises money for the Susan G. Komen Foundation. Now, I guess each player has to go and find a sponsor for that, or how does that work?
Yes, every player gets 3 sponsors who pledge a certain amount of money for a corner, an offensive corner. And if they score, then the money goes up a little bit rather than just a flat rate. So at the end of the game, we calculate the number of corners, and the sponsors donate that much money. And we've raised more than $20,000.
Wow, that is just great stuff. How hard was it to find sponsors?
Not very hard. People are very willing. It's a great cause, and a lot of places around here definitely want to support.
Now, you're also a member of the Student Athlete Advisory Committee. What does that entail?
It entails monthly kind of meetings, getting together, and throughout the year, different fundraisers, trying to raise awareness and raise money to help different organizations. This year, we're really focusing on Team Impact and getting their great word out.
Team Impact, of course, we know about them with their work with some of the other St. Anselm teams where they find a student of need, I guess, and literally adopt them as a member of the sports team throughout the season. I believe we talked last week with the women's soccer team, and they had a young blind girl from Concord who was a member of their team named Josie. How does Team Impact fit in with the field hockey team?
Well, we haven't actually been matched with anyone because they haven't found anyone. But it's great. Josie, we're looking to have her at one of our home games singing the national anthem. And it's a great cause. The men's hockey team has had their child for a while. So.
Have you met Josie?
No, I have not personally. But I've heard great things, and I've heard she's amazing.
Heard she's a good singer as well.
Yeah.
Which is always good for the national anthem. This week coming up, Coach mentioned big game under the lights against Assumption. A win would get you back to 500. How big of a game do we have this week against Assumption?
We have a big game tomorrow under the lights. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a good matchup, and hopefully we come out strong and beat them.
Are they one of the rivals, Assumption?
Yes, especially too because one of our former players who just graduated, Nicole Giebon, now works there.
Uh-oh.
So.
Little revenge factor, maybe.
Exactly.
Well, best of luck tomorrow night. Should be a good one. Under the lights at Grapponi Stadium. Always fun to check out some field hockey. Eliza, we appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
That is Eliza Jalbert of the field hockey team getting a warm round of applause from the folks here at Davison Hall. We're live every Tuesday from 12 to 1 on the Saint Anselm Coaches Show. You can catch us on ESPN New Hampshire Radio every Tuesday, 5:30 to 6:30. We'll play it. You can listen online. You can listen on the smartphone app, or you can keep it old school and listen on the radio, both 900 AM and 1250 AM. All right, let's take a look at what happened this week in St. Anselm sports. The golf team had a tough one down at the Dowling College September shootout at Long Island National Golf Course. Tough conditions there. They finished with a cumulative team score of 703, good for 13th place. The Hawks were led by Tim Rattigan, who carded a 173, had an 87 on the first day of play, 86 on day number 2. Rattigan was trailed by Joseph Fitzsimmons, who shot a 2-day total of 74. In football, of course, St. A is a tough one, 70-26 defeat at home on Friday against New Haven. The offense looked pretty good, though, 385 total yards. Justin Bernard, 3 touchdown catches. Quarterback Andrew Murphy, 4 touchdown passes. Keith Charles also looked pretty good as well, over 100 all-purpose yards on offense. So good stuff for St. A's. They'll go for their first win coming up on Friday at home under the lights against Southern Connecticut State. In field hockey, they went 1-1, a pair of home games last week. 3-2 overtime win against Franklin Pierce, a 3-2 overtime loss on Saturday against Assumption. Elizabeth Sears continued to be an offensive force for the Hawks. Had a hand in 4 of the 5 goals, including the overtime game winner on Tuesday. Hawks got some help in that game against Adelphi from sophomore forwards Colleen Sears and Canada Stewart. They each notched their first points of 2013 on a goal and an assist. Sophomore goaltender Shauna Whittemore played all 146 minutes in net during the week. She stopped 14 of 19 shots, a .737 save percentage, and a 2.38 GAA. And again, the field hockey team right back at it tomorrow night under the lights against Assumption at Grapponi Stadium. Cross country. Both the men's and women's cross country teams took part in the Notre Dame National Catholic Invitational. Back on Friday, the men finished 15th and were led by sophomore Kevin Morse, who placed 64th overall at 28-11. The women came in 14th with senior Joanna Marzik leading the way with a 55th place finish, total time of 21. Coming up this week, we mentioned Assumption and St. Anselm square off on the field hockey field tomorrow night at 7. Men's soccer will hit the road. They are at crosstown rival Southern New Hampshire. That's at Larkin Field. And that is also tomorrow night at 7. On Thursday, a final tune-up for the St. A's golf team before they head into the Northeast 10 Championships. They will play in the St. Anselm Franklin Pierce Challenge. That is 1 o'clock at Candia Woods in Candia, New Hampshire. Then on Friday, it's football time. Hawks and Southern Connecticut, 7 o'clock at Grapponi Stadium. And by the way, stay tuned for details on an iPad giveaway that will take place at the game. Saturday, men's soccer hosting New Haven at 1 o'clock. That's at Malucci Field. And then the final golf event of the season, the Northeast 10 Championships, a 2-day event on Sunday, September the 29th, and Monday, September 30th. That is at Brentwood Golf Club in Keene. In other action, men's soccer, St. A's dropped a pair of games this week to Stonehill. That was a 1-0 final, and they fell to Lemoyne 6-0. In the double overtime loss to Stonehill, the Hawks had a few chances in regulation, but were unable to sneak the ball past the Stonehill goalkeeper. St. Anselm's first chance came with 40 minutes, 30 seconds left to play in the second half. Senior Matthew McQueenie passed the ball up the field to senior Brian Ayers, who shot the ball just high following his one-on-one with Stonehill's Adam Colella. And then with just about 17 minutes remaining, St. A's had another chance, probably their best look, when senior Bruno DeSalva took a direct kick that found its way to the feet of the sophomore Ian Terrio, who shot the ball at the net, forcing Stonehill to make the save. Women's soccer. Hawks split a pair of games last week. They took down Bentley 1-0 on Wednesday, then fell to number 8 AIC 3-0 on Saturday. In the game against the Falcons, freshman Nicole Rust found the back of the net for a 1-0 strike when senior Maura Kelly served in the ball from the right flank to Rusk in the middle of the box, and she headed it into the right side of the net, scoring her first collegiate goal. St. Anselm goalkeepers Gabriela Primera and freshman Cassie Quattropani combined for 9 saves on the day. Hawks return to action, as I mentioned, next Saturday as they travel the pace. And finally, the volleyball team. They went 0-4 on the week. They dropped a 3-1, or rather dropped a 3-1 decision at Merrimack. On Tuesday, they fell to Dowling, Lynn, and Bentley at the St. Anselm Volley Fall Tournament. On Friday and Saturday against Merrimack, senior Kyla Gustavinson led the Hawks with 11 kills and 9 digs. In addition to Gustavinson, sophomore Lauren Oxley recorded 9 kills, and junior Melissa Ouellette added 7. On the defensive side, freshman C.C. Chisholm and junior Melissa Jewett were responsible for 6 digs and 12 digs, respectively. Well, that's just about going to do it here this week for the Saint Anselm Coaches Show. I want to thank head football coach Pat Murphy for joining us at the top of the show, as he always does here at Davison Hall on Tuesday. The golfers, trio of Tim Rattigan, Matt Santello, and Joe Fitzsimmons, want to thank them and wish them luck in their upcoming tournaments, including the Northeast 10 tournament on Sunday. Field hockey coach Carolyn King and field hockey player Eliza Jalbert for joining me moments ago. And as usual, we need to thank Tyler Fleming, Eric Copeland, and Mackenzie Frazier of the St. A's Athletic Department, and our ESPN New Hampshire engineer/producer Tom Rowe back in the studio. We'll do it all again on Tuesday, live here at Davison Hall from 12 to 1, and then, of course, aired from 5:30 to 6:30 Tuesday nights on ESPN New Hampshire. I'm Nick Anastos saying so long. This has been a presentation of Saint Anselm Hawks Athletics right here on ESPN New Hampshire and ESPNNewHampshire.com.